Welcome back to the Keeping It Real with KC podcast. I, of course, am your host, KC Phoenix. All right. So we're doing a little catch up here. I'm looking at the time because I'm on a schedule, as usual. So yeah, I haven't uploaded for the past 2 days. I didn't upload Sunday. I didn't upload Monday. Pretty sure I uploaded Saturday because I'm pretty sure I uploaded before I left. I planned on doing like recording the videos and then setting them to upload on the days I was gone, but I was just like, I'll record and do everything when I get back, which it was nice. It was a whirlwind. Yeah. Also, KIRWKC.com. You already know all the podcasting platforms and all that jazz. So my dad's birthday was Sunday, and my mother had hit me up multiple months prior and was like, hey, can you come home? Because I don't go back to my home state that often because I just, it's whatever. I love my family. I love my parents. But at the same time, I'm also doing my own thing too. I work a lot. I really do. And I think some of them get it, some of them don't. It's just when you've been doing things on your own by yourself, it takes bandwidth to do that. You know, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, so on and so forth. That takes bandwidth because I don't lean on anybody but God. That's all. I'm not the type of person to call people up and ask for things. That's just not who I am. So that takes up my time. Working, doing this podcast, doing my regular job, doing other things. That takes up my time. So went back home because I could tell it meant a lot to my mother, and I knew that it would have meant a lot to my father because, again, I haven't been back to my home state in 10 years. I hadn't seen my parents in 4 years. So I was like, okay, because when she asked me, I was like, okay, let me think about it. And I told her, I was like, I'll know by October. So it was getting closer, and she's like, do you know? I was like, I told you I'll know by October. So October rolls around, and I just let it marinate on my spirit. And I was like, okay, do I want to go to this event? Because I already knew I would see people I haven't seen in a long time, because obviously it's for my dad's birthday. It was a small gathering, but multiple people came to the event. So I was like, okay. I was like, oh, all right, it'll be for a little while. So I booked my flight, which American Airlines, getting to South Carolina, that flight was good. It was like snap of a finger. It felt so fast. Getting back to Texas, I don't know what it was about that flight. And then the landing, when we landed, it just boom, it dropped. Everybody's like, wait, what? So yeah, but any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. So yeah, booked the flight, went out there. So I left Saturday morning. My flight left at 12:15 or something like that, 12 something. And mind you, I've never been to DFW. Never been to DFW. I haven't flown in 10 years because the last time I flew was when I lived in Los Angeles. And I flew from LA to South Carolina. That was it. I hadn't flown anymore before that. I think in the last time I had flown before that was when I went to Amsterdam. So, and that was years prior. So yeah, I haven't flown that often because honestly, I don't like flying because I like to be in control. I like to see where I'm going. So, and I know people are like, but you're up in the air. I don't care. I want to see, I want to be up in the cockpit seeing as we're going. That's just me. But whatever. So arrived on Saturday. My hotel was already booked. My rental car was already booked. So after the airport, went over, picked up the rental car. And then my mother had called me like as soon as I am, because she's like, I tracked your plane. I tracked your plane. I'm like, okay. And she's like, I figured you had landed and everything. And I was telling her because my auntie was in the car with her, my mother's sister. And I was like, yeah, I landed. I was like, now I have to go get the rental car. But then I had to wait on my luggage as well, because for the baggage claim. And with that took forever. I promise you, it took like almost 30 to 40 minutes after we landed for the luggage to come up. Kid you not. Whatever. So after that, got my car, went to the hotel, and I was like, okay, I have to get, you know, something to eat and do that. So I got me something when I was headed to my auntie's house, because my auntie was like, hey, if you want, you can come over, because she actually doesn't live far from my mother. And I was like, okay, cool. So I go to my auntie's house. My auntie redid her entire house. It looked nothing the way it looked 10 years ago, because she added on to the house, redid the inside. It's gorgeous and stuff. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So spoke to my auntie for a few hours while I was eating. Also spoke to my uncle as well, her husband. And after that, I went back to my hotel. I was watching, what was I watching? I was watching something. I think I was watching Peppermint, is what which that's a good movie. It's with Jennifer Garner. If you haven't seen Peppermint, check it out. But yeah, watching that or something else, but I'm pretty sure it was Peppermint. And I was just relaxing, and then I went to sleep. So then the next day, I had to get up, and I got me some breakfast. I was determined to get Bojangles. I was like, I'm not leaving South Carolina unless I get Bojangles, because their breakfast is amazing. Greasy, but amazing. And since I don't eat like that often, because I'm very funny about what I eat, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get me the fattening, greasy biscuit at Bojangles that's drenched in butter. So I got me an egg biscuit. I actually got 2 egg biscuits and stuff. I stopped by Target in the morning so I could get my cashews. Got that. So I ate breakfast, and then I had to start getting ready because the birthday party was later in the afternoon. But also, I had to pick up my brother because he flew in from Georgia to the airport. And my mother was like, can you pick up your brother? I was like, yeah, I should be up at that time. And she started laughing, but I was serious, because if his flight would have came in at 6 something in the morning, my brother was going to have to catch an Uber, because I wasn't about to wake up just to pick him up. He has money. He can get an Uber. So anyways, I digress. So I picked up my brother, and before that, the conversation I had with my auntie, because my auntie was like, well, the party doesn't start until 1:30. My brother's flight came in at like 11. So my auntie was like, if you want to come over to the house, she said, me and your uncle are going to church, but I can leave the door unlocked for you. I was like, I don't know. All I was told was to pick up my brother. So I'm just going with the flow. I'm not asking questions. I'm just going with the flow. And she's like, well, call your mother right quick and see. And I'm just thinking, why couldn't you call my mother? But whatever. So I called my mother, and my mother was like, well, yeah, you can go over to your auntie's house. She's like, I think I can go ahead and finish setting up here. I was like, well, do you need help? Because the way she was saying it, it was like she wasn't sure. So I was like, well, do you need help to finish setting up the decorations and stuff? And she's like, well, yeah, I guess I could use some help. I was like, fine, then we'll just come over there. So I called my auntie back, tell my auntie, like, don't worry about it. My mother needs help to finish setting up the decorations. So me and my brother will just go straight to the party from the airport. So we got there, we were helping my mother set up all the stuff, putting the cloth on the table, setting up the 70th birthday banner, because it was my dad's 70th birthday. Did that, and then we were setting up other things too. We were making sure the people upstairs knew, because they have a basement pretty much downstairs at the restaurant. It's a small restaurant. They have a basement downstairs. And we were setting everything up. My dad did not know what was going on because it was a surprise party. Every time he asked something to my mother, she had an excuse for why she was doing it. Just like, because after the party, people were to come back and, you know, just have a good time, drink if they wanted to, whatever. And my mother was cleaning the house. And my dad was like, why are you doing all this cleaning? And my mother was like, well, we're going on vacation, so I don't want to come back to a dirty house. And my dad was like, oh, okay. So then she started cleaning the carpet. And then my dad's like, well, why are you cleaning the carpet too? And then she said something to the effect of, well, the dog is out the house, so now I can finally clean the carpet and get that done too. Whatever. So my dad was like, oh, okay. So the plan was my other auntie, because my auntie who I was talking about earlier, that's my mother's sister. My other auntie is my dad's sister. So my other auntie, she was with my dad. And the thing was, she was like, I'm going to take you out for your birthday, even though you didn't take me out for my birthday. My auntie's a Virgo. You know how Virgos can be. Virgos can throw shade all day long. So, yeah, that was the thing. So he's thinking that my auntie is taking him out for his birthday. And he's going with her. So they're trying to figure out where they want to eat. And she's kind of letting him pick but not pick where they're going to eat at. And she makes the suggestion of the restaurant, obviously, that his surprise party is at. So they end up coming to the restaurant after everyone finally arrives, which luckily everyone made it on time, except my dad's younger brother, or youngest brother, my uncle. He didn't make it on time, but he still made it. But so my auntie and my dad are coming down the stairs to the basement. And you hear my auntie say to my dad, because again, it's a small place and this little part in the basement is only for like an exclusive event. But my dad doesn't know that. And my auntie's like, as they're walking down the stairs, my auntie's like, I wonder, is this where they sit the black people at? And everybody who was waiting for my dad, we started laughing. So then my dad comes down and he sees us. And then we start singing the Stevie Wonder version of Happy Birthday. And he was shocked. And he said his biggest shock was his other brother, not the youngest one, but the middle one. My other uncle who's also from Texas, too. That brother and me. Because he's like, to get Josh to come home, which is my legal name, to get Josh to come home is like an act of Congress. And I'm like, true. You know, but he was very happy. We all had a good time at the event. The food was great. They had really, really good grilled chicken. And other people got like the pot roast, or I forgot what the other chicken was called. I can't remember. It's something that starts with the M. And my little cousin, he had a burger, because they had a burger too. And he had that. So we all talked and reminisced and had a good time. Then, after that event, we went back to my parents' house. And that's where the drinking happened, which also, my mother's sister, my auntie, she had started talking about this drink called banana pudding moonshine. And my dad's sister, she was like, banana pudding moonshine? And my auntie was like, yeah, it's really good. So then my dad's sister was like, oh, well, you need to bring that back to, you know, my mother's house. So my auntie was like, okay, I'll go home and get it, because literally my auntie lives like 5 minutes from my mother. Literally. So, yeah. She stopped by her house, came back, brought that. So then, once we get to my mother's house, my dad's sister's daughter, my cousin, and her husband were waiting at the house for us. They drove down from North Carolina. So they stopped by, and everybody, you know, everybody was drinking except moi. Also, speaking of drinking, I had to do the toast for my dad's birthday, by the way. My mother was like, oh, by the way, you're doing the toast. And I'm like, I haven't done the toast before. My brother had to do the grace. My mother did the invocation and did that, so I did the toast. And the short of it is that I pretty much said, my dad is the greatest man I've ever known. And he's a pure soul and very kind and so on and so forth. So, yeah, did that. But back at the house. So everyone is just talking, having a good time. My dad's middle brother is picking on the sister because she never cooks. And he was saying to the sister, my other auntie, that she was basically ahead of her time, because now everyone pretty much caters Thanksgiving dinner. no one really cooks anymore. But my auntie has been doing that for like decades. My auntie literally does not cook because it's just not her thing. And then how my cousin was saying, that's why she doesn't know how to cook, because my auntie never cooked. So yeah, that's the thing. But that it's just, it was reminiscing, having a good time, whatever. So after all of that was done, I dropped my brother off at the airport because he literally flew in at 11 that morning, and then his flight left at 7 that night so he could get back to Georgia. My nephew, his son, and the wife didn't make it because my nephew was sick, because he was kind of stuffy or whatever, and my brother didn't want to bring him. So that happened. But all good. He went back. So after I dropped him off at the airport, I came back to my parents' house because I at least wanted to spend time with them for a little while without people being around. My dad's middle brother and his wife, they were still at the house, but everybody else was gone. And eventually they got up and left. So I talked to my parents for a little while and just let them know, hey, I've been working this and that. What time is it? Okay, yeah. Doing pretty good on my schedule. I've been working this and that, but, you know, I'm glad that I got to came. And then my mother was saying that she was glad I got to, you know, come back home too. Because my brother and I had not been in the same place for 10 years. So, and that was during when I came back 10 years ago for my grandmother's birthday, my mother's mother, whose birthday is the day before my birthday. So she was a Cancer too. And that was the last time. And then with my uncle from Texas and my uncle, my dad's youngest brother, all of us being in the same place with me and my brother, and that right there was pretty much almost 15-20 years, give or take. So yeah, my mother was really happy about that. Pictures were taken and stuff, so we got that. All right, so yeah, that's kind of what happened over the weekend. And then Monday morning, my flight was at 6. No, my flight was at 7 in the morning. It was at 7:15. But I had to be up at like 4-ish or something like that. So here we are. Here we are. So yeah, that was the visit. It was nice to see family, catch up, and then get back, but it was a whirlwind. I literally, when I slept last night, when I tell you I slept so good, I slept so good. Because I didn't get any sleep while I was there. Alright, so I'm going now. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Until next time, be blessed.